Here's why you need a new SSD. Here is the best PS5 controller. And can Xbox even fight back anymore? How's it going, everyone? Welcome to PSReady. This is the weekend update with Mr. Ray Trevino and we're about to talk Silent Hill. I'm throwing you right into it.
Whoa.
Did you watch the stream yesterday?
I watched the stream yesterday.
I struggle to call it a stream because Konami, in their infinite wisdom, cannot figure out how to do a showcase right. So instead of this thing premiering and just being a live stream for 50 minutes where people watched as the announcements happened, they just uploaded it as a YouTube video. So I skipped through and I saw the announcements like right away. And I was like, cool, man. So yeah, we're getting, I think, like 4 new games. One of them is a Silent Hill 2 remake that has been leaked to high heaven and back. And then we got a game called Silent Hill Townfall, which is a new like atmospheric adventure game from the people who made Stories Untold, which is a super underrated game. Then we're getting Silent Hill Ascension, which is a partnership between Behavior Interactive, the people behind Dead by Daylight, and Bad Robot, J.J. Abrams' company. They're doing like a movie style game where you can change the series outcome. And then there's Silent Hill F, which looks like Silent Hill through the lens of Ghostwire Tokyo. And then we're getting a new movie, which is crazy because I love the Silent Hill movie, the first one. I'm very specifically saying the first one. Christoph Gans, dude gets what he's doing with the franchise, gets a little rocky at the end, but now it seems like he's got a lot more creative control and they're adapting Silent Hill 2. A lot of Silent Hill.
A lot of Silent Hill. It's interesting.
They're seeing the like Resident Evil 2, 3 remake, 4 remake, Village, and they're like, man, we want to cash in on that.
I mean, the Silent Hill design and the characters and stuff went on to be pretty iconic, obviously. Even if the games weren't financially like, Call of Duty level or something like that. They were like, so I could kind of see they're interested in bringing it back. I was kind of confused awesome. Why they chose to go straight to the second one versus starting from the ground up with Silent Hill 1.
2 is the one that everyone recognizes the most. Like, I don't know anyone who's played Silent Hill 1.
Yeah.
Just because it's a cool tech demo for the PS1 because it's an open world game and they use the fog to kind of like obscure pop-in and stuff like that, but it actually works atmospherically. I like the Silent Hill movie because Pyramid Head lifts that lady up. That scared me when I was a kid. I was like, this is crazy. I just like the idea of Silent Hill. It's like a cool little town. It's all foggy and spooky. And like the second one people really like because all the monsters are manifestations of the main guy, James, his fears and stuff like that. I wish I could get dropped into Silent Hill. I'd have that whole town on its knees in seconds. So yeah, no release dates on any of these games, which is kind of like weird because theoretically all of these were supposed to be announced over a year ago at E3, but then Konami at the last second was like, no, we're not doing our showcase. So
no.
PS5 exclusive timed on Silent Hill 2 remake, and that is also coming out on PC. I don't know. I'm gonna play it on PS5 because they're switching it to over the shoulder and it'll feel like a Resident Evil game. Guys, I don't know how he found the time to do this between editing videos, but Royce, the editor of PSReady and Xbox Ready, has just come out with 2 huge, awesome comic books, so I brought him by to talk about it.
The first being my comic book Biopunks. It's about 3 characters who all have physical differences that they have altered through this thing here called the spinal core. No, this is not cyberpunk. This is my idea. I've been working on it since 2017. Okay, so you guys know. They're being hunted down by this evil force who wants to harness the source of their power, the spinal core, and so they have to band together, team up to fight this guy and take him down. And this is my second book, Legend of Althea, about a girl named Althea who gets the power to heal people after getting an artificial heart transplant. And she'll have to learn to develop her powers in order to save her dad from a terminal illness, all while being hunted down by this notorious street gang called the Wolf Pack, who's looking to harness her powers for their own nefarious purposes. You can and should buy these comics on my website, stoneharborcomics.com, and you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at stoneharborcomics.
So the DualSense Edge has been announced. It's $200, and I have been thinking about how on Xbox Ready, we've done these like controller roundup videos where we go through the 5 million Xbox controllers that you can plug into your Series X and they'll just work. Whereas on the PlayStation 5, it's a little more limited. But I was looking through and I found that the reserves have been built up, and there actually are quite a few options of PS5 controllers you can buy now.
That is interesting. I do want to say that when the price for the Edge was announced, I feel like that's pretty fair, honestly.
You were right.
Like,
I said it in my video. I was like, I remember saying it was going to be like 150, 175, and you were right on the money with 200.
Yeah, that's what because I was looking at the Elite Series 2, and I was like, okay, that's almost 200. I get it. It's all the features that, people love about the DualSense, but with Pro Controller and then some. You can freaking take out the sticks. That's like
That's really cool.
made me dookie in my
And
pants,
the
dude.
The modules are only $20, which is like that's a fair price, I think. So
I was like, yeah, that controller's gonna last. Like, you're not gonna get stiff drift on that controller. Even if you do, you could just replace it for nothing.
but if you're a reasonable person who doesn't want to pay $200 for a controller, you've got some options here. 1 through 5 rating on how much you think this controller is worth it. 5 being super worth it, 1 being buy an Xbox controller. So the first controller that you can buy for the PS5 is the DualSense.
Oh,
the
boy.
white DualSense, the black DualSense, the red DualSense, pink, blue, purple. You've got plenty of options here. And they range from like $70 to $75, depending on the color.
I mean, 5. Right, like
5?
that's a 5 for
That's
me.
5.
I mean, that's the only PlayStation 5 controller that, you know, and it served me very well.
Hard to go wrong with the classic.
Hard to go wrong with the classic. I'm like playing Stray, and I'm doing the freaking like cat thing where you do make the muffins on the carpet, and I'm like, oh, like the tension is changing. Oh, I'm drawing my bow in Ghost of Tsushima, and like the pressure is on it. That's really cool.
Ghost of Tsushima's update was great. Last of Us Part 1, man, that was cool. When you have to pull the trigger on the hunting rifle, you got to pull that trigger. You got to be sure. Next up, we have the Hex Gaming Rival Pro PS5 controller, which we have looked at multiple times here on the channel, and I came down like medium plus. I was like a 3.5 out of 5 on this one. They've got some like cool stick grips on there. The one issue I had with these controllers is that because they're unlicensed, they have to switch out the PS button, and it just looks a little off-brand having that Hex Gaming logo on the button. And also, I don't think any of their controllers use the like square, circle, cross, triangle, which is a little weird thing. I'm lowering it to a 3 because we have an official competitor now. Like, they were the only one for a while.
Now that the DualSense Edge is out, I would bump that down to like a 2.5 too, honestly, because I feel like there's really no reason to spring for this, which is more expensive than the freaking DualSense Edge, which does what this is doing just a little bit better. The only thing I will say about this is that I am a little bit more familiar with the back button mapping versus the Edge, which is like a toggle almost.
These controllers are like $300.
No, like, yeah, people were freaking out about $200 for a Pro controller, first party Pro controller. I cannot in any state of mind recommend a controller like this to someone.
You can get 2 of them for $559 though.
Whoa!
Next up, we have the Sonic Unleashed controller. It's blue, it's white. It's not the Sonic Unleashed controller. It's the God of War Ragnarok one. I was just looking at it while you were talking, and I was like, this kind of looks like Sonic because it's the blue and the white, and then there's wolves, and Sonic turns into a werewolf on Sonic Unleashed. So that's how I got there.
Is that what spawned like all those weird like furry TikToks and stuff where people transform into a wolf and they're like, I'm the alpha. POV, you threatened my kitten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this controller is $75. You can pre-order it right now. It comes out with the game. You've got the Kratos and the Atreus wolves on there. I think it's pretty cool. I think it would be cooler if that bottom half, like, you guys can't see this probably, but this like bottom half here, you can snap that off. If that was black, I think it would be better. And I feel like the black plate would contrast better with the white PS button on this controller.
It just doesn't scream God of War to me, especially like with the themes of Ragnarok and like, yeah, Kratos' whole thing is just excessive, crazy violence. Like, I watched this dude beat up the gods of Olympus with his bare hands, some of them, like literally just giving them the freaking work, bro. You know, I like this relationship that Kratos has with Atreus and, you know, having it front and center on this controller. Pretty cool. But, you know, I feel like it could have been a whole lot cooler for sure. So, I mean,
4 out of 5?
I would say a 4 out of 5.
We're going to dock a point.
I'm going to dock a point because it could have been way cooler.
Because we both have criticisms of this controller. Sony, do better. All right, Ray. I know you got a PS5.
I do.
I know you do.
Yeah.
Even though you have an Xbox channel.
I do.
You're a traitor. I also have an Xbox Series X. But do you have extra storage on your PS5? A little SSD action in there, internal SSD, or included one?
Bro. I've gotten to the point where I've kind of gotten strategic with it.
Okay.
Like, I download a lot of like third-party games and, you know, obviously Game Pass games on my Xbox, and then I dedicate my PlayStation 5 as much as I can to the first-party stuff and anything I get for free on PS Plus.
Do you plan on playing God of War Ragnarok?
Oh, baby, I plan on playing God of War Ragnarok.
Like I'm sure everyone watching this video is, everyone's going to be bummed out to hear you're probably going to have to update your storage pretty soon on your PlayStation 5 because I got to read all the regions. I'm assuming this comes down to the language files of the games. But in the United States, if you're playing on PS4, God of War Ragnarok is going to be 106.9 gigabytes. And on PS5, it's going to be 84 gigabytes. And in the EU, if you're playing on PS4, it's 118. And on the PS5, it's 90 to 100. So no matter what, you've got at least 80 gigabytes of space that you need on your PlayStation 5.
Ooh, woo, woo! That's a big boy. That's a big boy. What do you think? What do you think is taking up so much space on this game? Because it's not true open world.
I would guess like the
least.
mocap files, like all of the cutscene stuff, and like the voice acting and
the audio,
all the particle effects.
I had a discussion with a friend who works in audio for gaming. And yeah, I think it came out like a few years ago, Titanfall 2, a lot of that space was dedicated to just uncompressed audio files. And I was like, yo, what's up with that, man? He was like, well, do you like good sounding games?
Yeah.
Do you like good audio? Do you like freaking like 3D sound effects that sound like you're really in the game? I'm like, yeah, I do like all that.
Someone's got to tell Ubisoft about uncompressed audio because some of their games lately sound like they're filtered through wax paper. Like, it's crazy how tinny and just low frequency the audio is. It's super weird. But so you have some options here, Ray. I'm going to give you some options on what SSDs you can pick up.
Okay. And this is a feature that I really appreciate because obviously over on the Xbox side, the only option is buy a Seagate card if you want to expand your solid state drive or else.
All right. So November 1st, you can order the Samsung 990 Pro. You've got a 1 terabyte version for around $170. You've got a 2 terabyte version for around $280. But if you wait till next year, you can get a 4 terabyte version for an undisclosed price, which I'm assuming will be around $500. So I have the Samsung 980 Pro in my PS5. It gets good read speeds. It gets good write speeds. It's kind of like a jack of all trades, middle of the road. But I would recommend getting that because the prices on it are going to come down due to the fact that it's about to be replaced. And the cool thing is the 980 Pro for a 2 terabyte version right now is only $230. And the last time I talked about it, it had already fallen from $280 to $250, which is like some pretty good savings. The cool thing is these are like computer SSDs. So if you use it in your PS5 and then you end up building a gaming PC down the line and you want more storage in there and you're not really playing your PS5 anymore, you can pop this SSD out and throw it in your gaming PC and it'll work just fine because the PS5 requires a certain speed limit. Not limit. What is it? Like a certain speed threshold to be able to be used in the PS5. So it's like a good higher than average speed that you have to be with this SSD. And another reason why I think it'd be good to go with this like last gen version of the Samsung drive is because the competition is still sitting at a healthy $250. The Firecuda 530 is $250 and the PlayStation branded WD Black SN850 is at $260. But if you want to get the non-PlayStation branded one, which is exactly the same, that one's $250. So yeah, guys, there's a lot of options you have to upgrade your storage, but I think we are really getting to a point where it's going to be hard to use the 680 usable gigabytes on the PlayStation 5, especially if you want to have a lot of these games on your console at the same time. I mean, they're just going to get bigger and bigger. So if you want to pick up one of these SSDs, you can go down in the description. I've got them all linked, and I'd appreciate it if you use those links because I get a little bit of a kickback. So the last story I have for you guys today is that Sony is pulling out all the stops here. They are trying to put an end to Game Pass, and this is their most shrewd move yet. So Activision being bought by Xbox, they're trying to get the whole Call of Duty brand, and Sony is fighting back by saying, hey, we had an agreement with Activision before any of this became a thing, and you could not put Call of Duty on Game Pass for like 7 years.
But why would they come out and say that when their whole argument is that Xbox is trying to block content from other subscription services? You know, PlayStation makes a ton of money off of Call of Duty. They make just a metric ton of money off of Call of Duty, so I understand. But
I get why they're scared because I've heard a lot of people saying like, oh, people like already associate Call of Duty with PlayStation and they'll never switch, but they did switch in the 360 era. Like Xbox had all of the same deals Sony has right now. Like Xbox 360 and the E3 events Xbox did was where you saw all the new Call of Duty action. So that could easily happen if it really does become the best place to play it.
Yeah. And I mean, at the same, but I feel like Sony is opening themselves up to some strange arguments when if they decide to go out and buy like Square Enix.
Their vibe is weird because they're like, oh, like our games just suck so bad they'll never compete with Call of Duty. We don't have any good games that can compete with Call of Duty. And it's like, bro, why are you selling yourself so short?
They're both trying to sell themselves short.
Yeah.
So Microsoft's like, well, we're third place in consoles and seventh in PC, and Sony's like, we're nothing without Call of Duty. We make too much money off of that. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened to all the first party stuff that everyone was like going crazy about? And
I thought it was funny how out of pocket Sony was being at first by like just extending this so much longer than they need to until it got the showcase canceled, which I think there's a lot of evidence that it was canceled. It was supposed to happen on October 19th, which was when the Silent Hill stream happened. It didn't happen. And this week we got a Silent Hill stream. We got a new trailer for Final Fantasy 16 on the 20th, and there's a Resident Evil showcase later today when we're filming this video, which is going to show off some Resident Evil 4 gameplay and some more of the Ethan Winters' daughter expansion for Resident Evil Village. So it's like all of this stuff sounds like stuff that would have showed up at a PlayStation showcase, right? Like Final Fantasy 16, console exclusive, Resident Evil Village got the marketing deal and the original announcement at the PlayStation showcase. So now it's like, this is like affecting hype, which I think sucks because I really like the showcases. It gets me excited for the next year of PlayStation.
It's a damn shame.